Morning everyone, it's Lynn with Garden in the Woods, Northwest Ohio, growing zone 5B6A. And today is about the first week of August and I'm going to do a garden tour finally. I really wanted to do it in July when things looked a little bit better, but just didn't get to it. So today we're just doing it, the good, bad, and the ugly. I keep deadheading my roses, pulling weeds, but you know how life goes and they just keep popping up. I swear, you do a swing through, you look down, it's fine, you come back 3 minutes later and there's another weed. So we're just going to get it done so you can see my hydrangeas and whatever else is in bloom. Alright, we bought this property in 2016 and didn't build to 22, and I took a lot of my hostas and some shrubs from my other house and just kind of put it in this area here. Now it's overgrown, but there's a few hostas back there and maybe a boxwood. And I brought about 5 boxwoods back. Some of them were demolished by my septic guy, but he did save one for me and I named him Jay after him. So let's get going. We're gonna stroll and we're just going up my driveway a bit. And I had a couple holding beds and then I've moved flowers from there, and then we'll show you an area that I winter sowed when I lived in the apartment. I did about 70 jugs. So, and we'll talk about that when we get there. All right, let's get on with the stroll. All right, we're on the south side of our garage, and this is where a couple years ago I planted my hydrangea alley. I have some heuchera in, I think that's Mahogany Monster, a lace leaf, the Invincible Spirit, my tough stuff, aha, I love this. See, the blooms were a little bit better a couple weeks ago. And then my limelight. Probably doesn't get enough sun here, but I still like it anyways. This thing has gotten tall in 2 years. Okay, another tough stuff, aha, this is blooming a little bit better. Might get a little bit more sun, but I think the leaf looks so much better because it's partially shaded. Make my opal and a foam flower. I think that's a Christmas fern in the back. Fire and ice hydrangea. Now I'm on Team Lacy Cap hydrangeas. I just prefer those over the mop heads. I do like the mop heads just because I like a variety, but another opal pulmonaria. I got some Jacob Ladder. I think this is Peachberry Ice. Shadows there. Anemone. Honorine. Gilbert. I think this is Guacamole Hosta. And that is Jetstream Oak Leaf Hydrangea back there. I had to buy that because my grandson is named Jet. My Snow Peak Japanese Maple. Bought these off of Mr. Maple. They shipped very nicely. This is about 2 years. And then this whole area is a little overcrowded, so this will have to be, I've got a pink astilbe in there, anemone, a variegated Jacob's Ladder hiding behind all of this. I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm creating my own shade area, I guess. And this is my Gatsby Pink Oak Leaf Hydrangea. This is beautiful. Now this was like a single stick 2 years ago. Look at this. This thing has grown so rapidly. Multiple foxglove reseeding in my path. This is going to be a work in progress. I don't want this many, I'll transfer those. And I bought this Japanese maple. The name I don't know what it is, but it was on my trip with my best friend to near South Philly. We went to see Longwood Gardens and Chanticleer, and we went to Terrain, ate a couple lunches there. Beautiful nursery, and that thing is really, I probably need to cut some of those branches. On the other side of the path I have a Snowflake Viburnum. This thing has grown huge. Now the flowering is not as good this year. I don't know because of the heat. But this has now surpassed my height. Underplanted with Ukra and a geranium. I think just tough stuff. The other one was Aha. This had a purple. Now the flowering, see, that's why I should have filmed this a couple weeks ago. New growth on it, so hopefully there may be another flowering on it, but 3 of those in here. And then that first ghost, the coloring maybe will hopefully change towards fall. And then another Japanese maple. Look at that color. Must be the colder nights starting to change it. More foxglove littering the understory. And then 2 strawberry Sunday hydrangea. And the wee bit grumpy grape, which I don't even think flowered this year. And then because I didn't find another strawberry Sunday, I threw in a bobo. Iris. Burner, variegated. I think I'm going to switch to the other side of the yard. This is still work in progress. Got some green giant arborvitaes kind of on the border, and a lot of pokey things in the woodland area. Then orange double flowering quince. That was just a sprig when I bought it. Nigella, another prime, limelight. And I'm not very fond of spirea, but I do love the double doozy. I feel like this area, they don't really get enough sun. A trio of those. And that's a 9 bark coming up here. A little bit smaller leaf. Okay, and I am a red bud fan, dark forest pansy, oh geez, look at the weeds here. That was my fall purchase last year, tricolored beech. I had one at my old house, fried in the sun, so gift to myself. More hydrangea on the out border. We own 5 acres. Of course I can't plant all 5 acres. Maybe if I was 20. And I think this is a midnight redbud, red leaves. And then another tough stuff, aha. And then because the name of it, I think that's a, what is it, sweet something with the red mahogany blooms. And then a pinky winky. My husband loves his birds, so get a little bird sanctuary here by the outside of the sunroom. Weeping Larch for my birthday from my bestie. Coming on the back patio. My husband and I did the stonework ourselves. Hummingbirds love this. I did not plant that yellow. Birds must have. So it's where it stays. My ruby fall red bud. I have red bud seedlings everywhere, so those are gonna have to get put into a pot sometime this year. Lady of Shalott, David Austin. See, this was flowering so nicely a couple weeks ago. The Japanese beetles have done a number on them. And all these, I don't know what they're called. It's an annual from my grandsons last year. They reseeded themselves. But I do love the color of the leaves. So look at all that. That was all reseeded. Filled this bed in nicely. I did plant the dark purple and the black petunias. To see my Carolina red bud. I saw this on a garden trip. We were in Kentucky. It's called U Garden. And I saw this red bud. I went, oh, I need that. Pop Star hydrangea I saved from Home Depot, 50% off, looking much better. They were looking very crispy. And my Rise Up Lilac Days. And I can deadhead these, and then 2 days later, needs it again. But there's something kind of soothing about deadheading and picking off Japanese beetles into a pickle jar. White butterfly bush. Hinoki, it's like something rock. I don't know. Not a brownie. My little quick fire. A little more open flower of all the quick fires. And then my top fun hydrangea. I forgot the name of this. So I call it my cousin it shrub. Another little quick fire. An update on how our fountain looks. planted in the beginning of June, my very first video. But it filled in nicely. The snapdragons have just reseeded themselves, so that I like the colors. And this area is in front of my house. The 4th of July pot that I never filmed. And then the holding zone for now for things I yet to plant. I have probably a little pumpkin from my last fall's remnants growing amongst it all. I have azaleas, and I think, is it limetta hydrangeas, looking a little sad in the heat. And another ruby falls red bud, sorry about the sun, that was broken off at the tip, and I kind of like the low growing of it. I probably do need to limit up here. And then my double doozy, and I think, is it Desmonial? Very good scent. David Austin Rose. I think Earth Angel Rose when we were at Blessingham Gardens in Alabama. I smelled the rose and oh, it smelled so good. That was a quest last year. And then a little quick fire on the corner. Weeping Norway. And then a Jane Magnolia that needs to get planted. So I have the 2 Fire and Ice hydrangea I just bought this year. Those were like 50% off in the hot July sale. I flanked the entrance to the cut through. And then the yarrow I bought near Sandusky, that was at Corsos. It's a white with just a tinge of pink, but planting it in the heat of 90 degrees kind of did a number. A butterfly bush that did survive last winter. I like those two together. And petunias that self-seeded from last year. And this, we're approaching the area where was my holding bed before the house was built, when I did my winter sowing and transplants from my other house. All right, here's the cut through. Ferns that are growing wild in there. This area was like one of my original areas. Had primula planted in here in the spring, and can't remember what else, but so overtaken. I bought like a chocolate foxglove with more like of a mellow yellow. Those things just reseeded like crazy. So Those will probably need to come out. One of my original bed areas in the shade. Twist and shout. Well, that's going to conclude the August tour of Garden in the Woods. Thanks for joining me in August, and we have many more projects to come. So keep pulling weeds and planting flowers.